Welcome to Milan, and it's an absolute pleasure to be talking to you. You are two living legends, so we are very, very thrilled. Really.
Well, I like the living part.
So this is your third European date, right? And what kind of a response are you getting from the audience so far? And what countries will you include in the tour?
Well, it's been spectacular. We've been to Germany, Sweden, Norway,
Denmark,
France,
Spain.
now Italy, Switzerland.
Oh, sure.
We're going to go to the UK and to Scotland.
Wow.
And we've already been all over the world, all over the USA, all over South America, all over Southeast Asia and Japan. And we may do some more stuff next year also with some festivals.
Wow.
Possible some other countries we've never been to before. I don't want to mention which ones. Australia. But hopefully that will happen.
Wow, cool. And so the live dimension, live performances are very basic for this band. It's a very important element. You actually have more live recordings than studio albums, perhaps.
We do?
I haven't counted.
Maybe they outnumbered your studio albums. So,
nice.
And we also heard that tonight you will record a live DVD.
I heard that too, and I forgot all about it.
Really?
Until I showed up today and I saw the cameras. I go, oh, forgot we're recording. I better practice.
Yeah.
So, what's the main difference between, for each of you, between touring with Mr. Big and with your other projects like the Winery Dogs or your solo tours? And
What is the difference? Well, Mr. Big, there's more people in the audience, which is nice. And it's Mr. Big music. You know, we all sing together, which is great. A lot of harmony vocals in addition to the bass and guitar wildness. And for me, it pushes me to be more intense. There's a sort of a energy level requirement that Mr. Big has, that if I was just on my own getting out of bed in the morning at my house, you know, I might not ever get to that energy level during the day on my own. But with Mr. Big, it brings me up to a higher energy level and than I ever would on my own. That's nice. Nice to be pushed and to push myself that much.
okay.
Cool. Yeah, similarly, it's a pretty intense show. I mean, it seems sometimes like just a regular rock song or a pop song, but we're doing a lot and singing a lot, and all kinds of things are going on. And it's Mr. Big has been for all of us our most successful band for all of us in the band, and we've played all over the world, as I already mentioned. And it's incredible to play. We play in South America, and they sing the guitar solos.
Yeah.
They sing along with the guitar. The solos are, and so the fact that the fans are so familiar with what we do and they sing along, we're really locked together with the audience in a really incredible way, which means a lot to us. You know, we have dear friends and wonderful people all over the world. No matter where we play, somebody's there. They got a record, a Mr. Big shirt.
Yeah.
Even if they got to make them themselves, they got a Mr. Big shirt. So it's quite a wonderful thing. I mean, we both do a lot of things outside of Mr. Big, but I would dare to say, not necessarily to speak for Paul, Pat, Eric, or Matt, but Mr. Big is really a very, very special thing for all of us.
And we're happy to see that Pat is joining the tour also this time. And is it correct to say that Mr. Big is more than a band? It's a big family.
You could say that. You could say that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Pat unfortunately ran into a bad situation, and as a band, we wanted to make sure that he knew that we were with him 100%. And it's a tough thing for everybody, but Pat has demonstrated incredible courage and strength, and he's inspiring to so many people all over the world. I get email from people every day that just who maybe don't have the same affliction, but have something similar, and Pat inspires them to get out of bed and get going and push back a little bit more. I think that's a wonderful thing in itself. And when the American military has the Navy SEALs, and their motto is "No man left behind." And so for the beginning of this, it was kind of, we adopted their motto to a rock band.
Wow.
And no man left behind. Because a lot of bands are out there now and they don't have all the original members.
Yeah.
It's sad, sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes people pass on or situations, but we really wanted to be Paul, myself, Eric, and Pat. Matt is incredible at helping out too. I have to mention how awesome he is and how wonderful of the job he's done to do Pat's parts the way they should be done. Really wonderful.
Yeah, the next question was about him. How did you meet him and how did you choose to hire him?
Well, I met him in Hollywood at a jam, and he did something amazing. He went up on, I saw a very famous drummer from a very famous band go on the jam first, and I was surprised he wasn't that good. So then Matt went up after that, and he just sang and played AC/DC TNT perfectly. And it's so hard for people to do things correct. They always want to do their extra stuff. But for me, AC/DC is kind of sacred. So play it like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he nailed it exactly right, I thought. And I'd never met him before. So I talked with him, we became friends. And then the situation with Pat came up, and I thought, who do I know that can really do exactly how it's supposed to be done? And also lives close by and is a good guy, and can sing his ass off.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, Matt Starr. Yeah. So I brought him in. Paul and Pat, I think, were the first to see him. Then Eric, and everyone, I think, agreed at that point that he would be an excellent choice for this. So he's been a saint, because you have to basically throw your own self away, you know, and just do what's needed for the song. Incredible. But he also throws his things in there too.
Okay.
Wonderful guy, incredible drummer.
Yeah. So your back catalog is getting larger and larger over the years. It must be very challenging to arrange a set list for a tour. So how much do you take into account people's expectations on this regard?
Putting set lists together. Well, it's kind of obvious what songs, because we've toured a lot before, so we know what songs have been successful for us before, and then of course we have a new album, and it's sort of an instinct. It's not like a mathematical formula to figure out what to put in the set list. It's more just, I think that one's going to work. You know, it's just an instinct that you build for music, and you know, we of course try it. We play the sound check first to see how it feels, and then try it out for the audience. And if it's working, we keep it. So not any secret formula. Just try it out and see if people like it. And so far, we've had good luck.
Yeah, of course. And did you write any song specifically conceived to be played live, or you never considered this aspect during songwriting?
Well, I think everything we do is designed to be performed live, because I think that's where some bands got in trouble. They get in the studio, could do all this fancy stuff, but they can't do it live.
Yeah.
So they get live and it's not that good. I've seen that happen with several very famous bands too. When we designed this band way back when we first began rehearsing back at what was that place on Vineland?
Oh, before Mates?
Yeah.
The Alley?
The Alleyway Studios. We were in there rehearsing, and we just were playing live. And when we put this band together, we kept live in mind completely. So when I heard Eric sing, I thought, now that guy's got a great voice. I heard some live things of him. It's amazing. Paul, of course, I've seen him for several years before we started Mr. Big, and he just killed live. Pat Torpey, I saw him perform live, just great. So we really wanted to build the band as a live band, so it would be real. Where a lot of bands they faked a lot of stuff. You know, they can do it in the studio, they can't really do it quite live. So we wanted to really make that connection true and honest. And I think it makes a big difference to the fans. Sometimes when we sing, we break in the middle of Green Tinted and just sing the harmony part with no music. And I know people looking at us going, is that recorded? And so a couple times live, these aren't any tracks playing, you know. It's not fake, you know. So we keep that in mind. And then, of course, sometimes it's a challenge. We do something that's difficult. We got to perform it live. We got to figure out a way to do it. So it's a good challenge too.
Great. And when you play live, do you feel more comfortable with acoustic renditions, or do you prefer more fully plugged sets?
Well, it depends on the song.
Yeah.
I mean, some songs were born to be acoustic songs.
Yeah.
To Be With You is an acoustic song. Yeah. But sometimes if it's a show where I don't have an acoustic guitar, I'll just turn my electric down and get a clean sound. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the thing with an electric guitar. You've got a volume control, so you can actually make it dynamic. It doesn't have to be loud all the time. So it's not necessarily one or the other. You can sort of use dynamics and go between. Okay. But as a guitar player, the hardest thing about acoustic is the G string is wrapped and it's really hard to bend. And I love to bend, so that's my only frustration with the acoustic is that I can't bend the G string.
How has your songwriting transformed over the years from the time of leaning to it to now? Do you think new technologies have contributed to such development? Or?
I don't know if the technology contributed to the development of songwriting, but it makes it easier to document your ideas. Yeah. So if I got an idea, I grab my iPhone, put it on selfie video, set it down, and I'll play into the phone. Okay, the verse starts like this, but then in the chorus, you go to the C to the D, but then the next chorus, and explain the whole song, so it's easier. Then when I go back, I can remember what I did. Where before you had a little cassette player to talk in, but you couldn't see. So now to record a little video, or I have an idea for a bass line, I look into myself and, okay, it goes like this, and I get it close to my fingers to show what I'm playing. So that helps, but all of us, I think Paul especially from the very beginning has really grown as a songwriter to the point where some of the new stuff on the record of Paul's, Be Kind, is one of my favorite songs we've ever done. 1992, really great. And Green Tin 60s Mind, of course, when in the very beginning. But all of us have developed more and more and more and improved in everything, our playing, songwriting, singing, everything. And I think it's important to always keep challenging yourself to always keep doing better. Very important, and all of us have that state of mind.
Okay, so you would say you feel happier now, or when you reach success for the first time?
Happier?
Happier.
Oh my goodness, I'm happier now.
Now.
Same here.
Okay, so a quick game. You have in here nearly all of your works. So pick one and say something about it.
Okay. Oh! This feels like a good one. Beefy one. Oh, it's
you too.
Very good. I remember that. Well, this one here is autographed by Paul Gilbert too, incidentally.
It's what?
Autographed by Paul Gilbert.
Oh, it's got an autograph on it.
So it's a little
This one's got an autograph from Eric.
Well, this one here was our first comeback right after 2009, I think. Yeah, 2009, live at Budokan. And there's a couple of really cool things on this. Paul and I do a solo together, which I like doing a solo together sometimes. Sometimes I don't like being alone for a solo. It's nice to do it with someone. And we worked it out. And there was still room for improvisation. But then when you do a live recording, it's difficult because if you make a mistake, you can't do it again.
No.
But we got really lucky on this, and everything we did on this show, really, we nailed it. It was really good. And sometimes as time goes on, you forget about things, and sometimes I'll see this playing somewhere, and they go, "Oh, well, who is that band?" Oh, it's us. It sounds really good. So we're not to be self-aggrandizing, but it's really we really had a good night that night. When you have a great night and you also videotape, it's a rare moment, and this was one of them. So I'm very, very pleased with this.
All right, and then live Channel V. This was in Singapore?
Yeah.
And I remember in the early 90s, we had To Be With You was our big hit, obviously. And suddenly our management was calling us up and saying, we've got a promotional tour of Singapore, Indonesia, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and all these places, that were very far away from where we lived in the United States. And it was amazing to go there. And I remember because To Be With You was a big hit, sometimes we wouldn't even do a Mr. Big concert. We would just go to the radio station and play To Be With You and maybe a couple other songs acoustically. And it was wonderful, but it was also very different than anything I had ever thought I would be doing. You know, I envisioned myself as an electric guitar player, and suddenly we'd be doing whole acoustic sets, and I'd be struggling with that rap G, but doing my best. And so it was sort of trial by fire, you know, just suddenly in this new situation, and you've got to do your best, and it came out, you know, again, when you hear it for a while, you listen back, you go, wow, that's. And actually, the thing I like the best is when there's acoustic instruments, you tend to hear the vocals more easily. And that was something I did always want to do from an early time. I always loved vocal bands. I grew up wanting to be a band like the Beatles, and I loved harmonies, and so that was. I think when we put Mr. Big together, you know, we wanted to have a great lead singer. But I know I wasn't. I was thinking more like, wow, Billy Sheehan's in the band. We'll do this crazy stuff. And then as time went on, we realized, hey, everybody sings, and we started singing more and more live, and we started to realize that we've got this vocal sound that I don't know if we even planned to have it, but it's not only is it having a great lead singer, but it's also all these harmonies together with it are really a secret weapon or an additional really cool thing to the band. And so this would be an album that we hear that.
Wow, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you so much. One very last thing.
Sure.
Fabrizio brought a very valuable memento from the old days.
Wow.
Can you
Oh,
comment
wow,
on
look
your
at that.
outfit and look back then?
Well, time marches on, and haircuts change, shoes change. Shoes and haircuts, as I've heard it said, are the
And
things that
jackets.
and jackets. And we, through the years things change, you know. And I look back. Unfortunately, I look back and I see very little that I'm embarrassed about.
Yeah, it's.
Why should you be?
Oh, I think it was cool.
Yeah, it's nice to have pushed the envelope, pushed the limit sometime.
But we had a blast. It was a great time back then. Putting a band together and having that success and being on major tours, and it was really just an incredible time. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot from this. All of us did, not only about music, but about life and living and songwriting and all kinds of things that you learn through the years. And everyone's life is like that. No matter what, you see some photos of yourself at 17 years old. You're dressed much differently than you are now, of course. So, but it's just a kind of nice. We're very lucky to have been a little bit famous. So there's so many examples of what it was like back in the day, and I remember all these clothes and all these instruments.
Do you still have them?
Yeah, I've still got that bass. What guitar are you playing here, Paul?
I've got that. It's a blue one behind your head.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I still have that guitar.
Yeah. So we have a lot of our history in the archives. So we save a lot of this stuff. So maybe someday there'll be a Mr. Big museum. Who knows?
Wow, why not? Thank you so much, guys. You've been wonderful.
You're watching us right here on Rock Rebel Magazine. Grazie.